Welcome to Southwest Championship Wrestling. Rick Stewart and Steve Stack here at ringside, and we've got a great lineup for you, Rick. We're going to see the exciting Casey's. That's Rick and Scott. They'll be in a tag team match.
Well, you know, Texas fans and fans all over the country have been waiting for the Casey's to be together for months and months. Today on Southwest Championship Wrestling, they'll be together. Plus, Steve, I've heard about him all over the country, and legend has it that he's even bigger than we've said he is. The Lord Humongous is on television today on Southwest Championship Wrestling.
I saw him earlier. He's a big guy. He's got this manager with him. I don't know who wants to tackle him, but somebody's going to have to later on today. Also, we're going back south of the border, and we've brought two of the great stars, Perro, Aguayo, and Enrique Vera. You'll see them both live today.
Well, I had a chance to be at the airport with the both of them today, and they've caused a big stir in and all around Texas, and certainly there'll be big stars here today on Southwest Championship Wrestling. Plus, we can't forget, Steve, the man is coming back, the baddest man that South Texas, and a matter of fact, for the United States has ever had. Bruiser Brody's on his way to the Southwest.
He won't be with us live today, but you can bet in not too many more weeks he's going to be right here. We don't want to forget those wild Maoris from New Zealand. They're coming here.
Well, they're the Southwest Tag Team Champions. Plus, you'll be seeing exciting stars like Rick Gibson and many more of your favorites today on Southwest Wrestling.
So where else do you want to go but right here for the excitement of Southwest Championship Wrestling? We're going to call it all for you. And ladies and gentlemen, don't go away, because when that first bell rings, it's Rick and Scott Casey. Don't miss it. Thursday, April the 4th, advance tickets all Mickey's convenience stores in Lexington. We'll see on Thursday, April the 18th, Bruiser Brody in Lexington. In Burnett on Friday, April the 19th, Bruiser Brody in Burnett. And we'll be in Temple at the Mayburn Civic Center on Saturday, April the 20th. Here in Waco, the action of Southwest Championship Wrestling inside the Convention Center begins at 8 o'clock on Friday night, April the 12th. Here's the big lineup, the main event, a revenge match. And we've just been handed this special information that Buck Robley will be in that revenge match. The contract to the other side has been bought out by Bruiser Brody. That's right, it's Bruiser Brody against the Colonel Buck Robley in the big revenge match. No disqualifications. Madril takes on Chicky Starr. Mr. Pile Driver Bob Sweetan against Tim Flowers. Dusty Woods will be there against Lord Humongous and other exciting matches. Advance tickets over at Marcy's Hamburg. That number is 799-9992. And we'll see you at the Waco Convention Center on Friday, April the 12th. Mr. Pile Driver.
Well, first of all, Steve, I'd like to be the first one to welcome Bruiser Brody back. It's good to have the man back, because he's going to help us take care of a little bit of business. I feel kind of sorry for Christopher George Robley. But this Tim Flowers, I don't know too much about the man, but if he's in the Southwest Championship Wrestling area, he must be good. He must have some credentials to back up his words. The man is going to have a true test when he steps in the ring with me. You're going to find out exactly what the wrath of the pile driver is all about.
Chicky Starr, no disqualification against Madril.
Yes, Steve. No DQ on Madril. Let me tell you one thing. I don't finish the job yet. But let me tell you one thing. April 12th, I'm going to finish with you, baby.
All that action, remember, is in Waco at the Convention Center. Bruiser Brody is back. He is bought out to contract of Scott Casey, and he'll be going up against the Colonel Buck Robley, and Mr. Pile Driver Bob Sweetan will be there. He'll be going against Tim Flowers. No disqualifications. Madril, Chicky Starr, 799-9992 for reservations. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Let's see who they're going to start out with, Tim Flowers or Paul Kelly. It's going to be Flowers against Rick Casey. The referee is George Stevens, and we got a good one all day today.
Steve, we've seen so much from the Caseys over the last couple of weeks, and now the promise that the fans have has been fulfilled. Rick and Scott Casey together as a tag team in against Timothy Flowers and Paul Kelly. Not that much known about Timothy Flowers, although from time to time, at least I've heard all over the country, that this gentleman here may be a little reticent about tying up with somebody who's got the extraordinary scientific skills of the Caseys.
Well, I don't know much about Flowers. This is my first look at him. As there goes Rick Casey over the top, turns around, nice drop kick, down went Tim Flowers. Nice arm drag, and Rick Casey holds on to the left arm. Scott Casey is his partner, and I think he's going to tag in right now. He does.
But the years of cousin combinations through the wrenches, leapfrog by Rick Casey right there with his brother Scott, or excuse me, his cousin Scott. You know, after the years on the ranch in South Texas, you get so close, a lot of times it's hard for you and me to tell the difference between them. But Scott Casey, definitely a long-time favorite. I remember a couple of years here ago when Scott Casey was the great hope for the fans here in Texas. A good shoulder tackle by Scott Casey. He's up and over his man. Flowers tries the field throw, but Scott Casey is right there, and he blocks it.
Yeah, Flowers says, hey, let me out of here. I've had enough of these two Texans right now. Let me cool off a minute. And in comes Paul Kelly from New York. And he's one of those Easterners. All you got to do is talk to him for a minute. You know what he does and what he says.
Well, Paul Kelly's attitude, a young punk from New York, but he's met with a good Texas forearm, a lateral press, and a cover of 2. You've got to watch out. Paul Kelly is as dangerous as they come, Steve. You don't grow up on the streets of New York without being a pretty dangerous young man. And Rick Casey's in for all he can handle against this guy from New York City.
Rick Casey backs Kelly into the corner. Rick tags out to Scott. This time, Casey holds on to Kelly. Now both Caseys have Kelly. They twist the arm. What are they going to do? And twist it back the other way? Well, let's see. Double chop, and down goes Paul Kelly.
Hey, you can't be together with your cousin or your blood relatives for a long time until you form that nucleus of tag team combination that the Caseys have obviously got down. The Caseys, the premier tag team stars of the Southwest Championship Wrestling area. Good shoulder block from Scott on Paul Kelly, and Scott goes to work. Paul Kelly's there, but Scott is ready for him. Drives into the canvas. Both men knocked down, but it's Paul Kelly who tries to make the tag to his partner to get a fresh man in the ring, Steve.
You see Tim coming into the ring. Tim Flowers. Diamond Tim Flowers, he calls himself. When he comes out, he's got that big fancy robe, got those diamonds all over in his ears, on his neck, on his wrist, all over the place. So,
but big fancy diamonds and one thing are something to prove to the fans that watch Southwest Wrestling every week. But it's wrestling ability and skills inside that squared circle that make the difference. Because we're going to see stars today like the 375-pound Lord Humongous for the first time on Southwest Wrestling. Certainly, of all the things that you and I have said about him, certainly nothing can compare with the view that the fans will have of this man today. He is absolutely phenomenal. I don't know whether to call him a wrestler or an animal or a thing.
A little bit of everything. That's what he is. We'll see him. Here comes Rick Casey tagging in after Scott did a little business over there in the corner, took care of both guys. It's Flowers, has a headlock on him by Rick Casey. It's Casey bouncing off the rope. Oh, and Flowers gets that knee into the midsection. Doubles up. Rick Casey reaches down and grabs him by the hair. Takes him over, and here comes Paul Kelly back.
Probably the secret of the Casey's tag team combination will be their close personal ties as far as blood relatives go. They know each other's moves in the ring. They know when one man is hurt. They know when one man is not. But definitely, Rick Casey's in trouble against Paul Kelly. A high-flying backdrop. And Rick Casey certainly needs to make the tag to his cousin Paul. He's been absorbing a tremendous amount of abuse, Steve.
Well, Rick Casey unable to get over the tag out to Scott. It is Tim Flowers tagging in now as Paul Kelly goes out. Flowers grabs the hair. Oh, he lays one to the side of the jaw, and that puts Rick Casey on the seat of his pants.
Well, the shortcuts known by the team of Flowers and Kelly are, of course, no secret to the fans that watch Southwest Wrestling every week. But Rick and Scott Casey have got to remember that in this match, in the promoters' minds, all across the country, is their chance to meet the Maoris for the Southwest Tag Team Championship belts. Now, should they fail to produce a win here on television, Rick Casey met with a double elbow off the ropes from Flowers and Kelly. Paul Kelly sets his man for a big elbow off the ropes. Frank, this could be it, Steve. A count of 2, a lateral press, but only a count of 2. Now, with the Maoris to consider as the champions, how are the Caseys going to survive this match?
Well, the Caseys have really got to get after it here. These guys are in good shape. They know what they're doing. I want to tell all you fans in Alice, Texas, we're going to be there in the first week of April. We want to see you in Alice, all you great wrestling fans.
Well, as a matter of fact, in the first couple of weeks, I've been here in the Southwest for a couple of years. I am absolutely amazed, Steve, by the reaction that the fans have to us all over not only all over the state of Texas, but all over the United States. I'm looking forward personally to meeting a lot of my friends in Corpus Christi, Texas, here on the beach in a couple of weeks. The surf's up, and I'm ready for some great wrestling action in Corpus.
Nice place to go in Corpus Christi as we take a look now as Tim Flowers has hold of Rick Casey, bounces Casey off the ropes. There, Casey gets a kick. He ought to be able to make the tag. Scott is right there. Can Rick turn around and make the tag? Let's see. Oh, he throws a fist on Flowers. Another one onto the side of the jaw. There's a third one. Rick Casey makes the tag, and here comes Scott. Probably the most popular wrestler ever to appear on Southwest Championship Wrestling, except one, and we'll tell you about him because he's coming back later on. Look at Casey. Drop that throw.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Steve, but You must be talking about King Kong Bruiser Brody.
That's him. Big Bruiser Brody is coming back, and quicker than you think.
Scott Casey now with the advantage on Tim Flowers. A lateral press after a big judo chop to the chest. And now you can see some of that style of Scott Casey coming to work on this young man who the first opportunity for us to see on Southwest Championship Wrestling. But Scott Casey may be finding himself in a bad situation, trapped in the corner of Timothy Flowers and Paul Kelly.
It's two Texans against two New Yorkers. The Caseys against Kelly and Flowers. It's Kelly choking Scott. Rick comes in to get the referee, George Stevens, to get one of those guys out of there. And George gets out Rick Casey, and it is 2-on-1 across the way. Scott Casey in the ring now, gets punched right around the kidney area by Paul Kelly, who has tagged in Tim Flowers, who stepped out.
You know, there's an old adage in professional... Ooh, good belly-to-back suplex by Scott Casey. He tags his cousin, Rick Casey, who's right in for the maneuver. Casey up and down with a hard elbow smash. 1, 2... Almost a count of 2 on Paul Kelly, but Rick Casey has the advantage. Up for, oh, he missed the high flying drop kick on Paul Kelly.
Oh, Casey missed that one. That back is hurting now. Here's the tag. In comes Tim Flowers. Casey is being held by Kelly. Flowers lays some big ones in there. Rick Casey is covered up in front with that face lock by Tim Flowers here on Southwest Championship Wrestling.
Now, do you know Rick Casey? Well, what can you say about this young man? Certainly, Steve, he's got all the heart in the Western world. But then against two veterans like Paul Kelly and Timothy Flowers, how much abuse can one man stand? Rick Casey now firing away with short right hands to the midsection of Paul Kelly. A big, high knee lift that backs this man up in the corner. Can he make it? Yes, he's tagged Scott. And now, Timothy Flowers got to stand alone against Texas #1 son, Scott Casey.
Here's Flowers. Oh, did he get chopped as he come bouncing out of that corner? Casey has him, whips him across the ring, puts the sleeper hold. Here it is. This should be all for Timothy Flowers, the sleeper hold. Here comes Kelly in. Casey goes after him and puts the sleeper hold on him.
And again, the sleeper hold. We want to caution you young fans at home. Please, do not try this hold in your backyard. It cuts off the blood pressure flow to the brain, and it's an extremely dangerous hold, only to be tried by professionals such as Scott Casey. Now,
Casey thrown in that rope.
Paul Kelly, what can he do? What can he do, Steve?
Well, Kelly got out of it as he threw Casey into the ropes there. Now here comes Kelly back after Casey. They throw a few fists. Another one. Casey, nice forearm. Legal blow knocks Kelly down. Here he tags out to... Is he going to tag? Yes, he tags to Flowers. Casey goes over to help Flowers in the ring.
Both men are obviously weakened by the sleeper hold of the Caseys. Now, Timothy Flowers in against Scott Casey. Again, up, a high-flying drop kick that nails Flowers right on the crest of the jaw. Scott Casey goes for his opponent as Rick Casey moves in the ring and takes on Timothy Flowers. We've got a four-way melee going on.
Well, Rick Casey grabs Flowers. Scott hates Kelly. They throw them together, both men down. Scott Casey grabs Flowers. Rick Casey grabs Paul Kelly. Let's see what they're going to do. There goes Flowers out of the ring. Scott Casey in there now. And it is Rick Casey whipping Kelly into the turnbuckle. Bulldog.
Bulldog!
1, 2, 3, and it's all over.
The trademark maneuver of the Caseys. That flying Bulldog headlock just proved too much for Paul Kelly and Timothy Flowers today on Southwest Wrestling.
Well, we're going to see if we can get Rick and Scott Casey up here before they make their way back to the dressing room as they win the match here on Southwest Championship Wrestling. The Bulldog, made famous by a Texan, Cowboy Bob Ellis.
Well, you grew up on the ranches of Texas, and certainly the two favorite sons of Texans all over the state and all over the country are here today. It's Rick and Scott Casey. Gentlemen, welcome back to Southwest Championship Wrestling.
Thank you. The buck stops here. You've got a Lord Humongous. Bruiser Brody. Bruiser Brody's coming back. Everything's coming in. Watch out, Corpus Christi and Alice, Texas. Tell them about it. Killeen, we're coming. April the 3rd, we're going to be in Corpus Christi. April the 4th, we're going to be in Killeen. Is that right? April the 5th, we're going to be in Alice. Watch for us, Steve. See what we did right here? We're not taking nothing off of nobody here. No more. Brucey Brody's coming back in. There's got to be some justice done, and we're going to get it done here in Texas.
Thank you very much. Rick Casey and Scott Casey, two of the great stars, Southwest Championship Wrestling. They'll be coming back, and they're on the tour with us all over the country. Stay tuned, because there's more right after this. It's Rick, and here he is.
Certainly one of the most controversial managers, Steve, in the history of professional wrestling. Silky Slim with, what can you say, but the Lord Humongous.
Silky Slim.
Well, you know, Steve Stack, the people around here are still talking about ATB. Hey, forget that man. Forget that. He's history. This is the new man of professional wrestling. This is the new giant. This is the new big man. This is the most premier, the most provocative man in professional wrestling today. And I promise you that before we're finished, this man is going to own every major title this territory has to offer. And guess who brought him here? The prettiest and one of the richest managers in professional wrestling today. I want you to know that I comprise one of the most provocative and prestigious wrestling organizations in the world today.
Silky Slim with Lord Humongous. Who's going to argue with him?
Well, certainly he's got the tools to prove it, as long as Silky Slim, from what I've heard from him before, Steve, his, I hate to say it, but his mouth backs up what he's got to say as far as Lord Humongous goes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there's a match in the ring now. Let's go there and pick up the action where Enrique Vera is there against Manuel Villalobos. Well, here's one of the great stars from south of the border. This is Enrique Vera against Manuel Villalobos.
And what a treat to see two such great scientific stars together in the same ring, Steve. I'm looking forward to a lot. Wait a minute. Out to the microphone to join us, at least momentarily. Al Madril, of course, the new Al Madril, as he likes to call himself. Certainly he has nothing to say as far as the scientific style of wrestling that we're seeing in the ring goes. But you've got to lend credence to his words, because whether you agree with his tactics or not, one thing you've got to consider is the success ratio in the ring, and certainly he's got more wins than losses since his, shall we say, change of heart here on Southwest Championship Wrestling.
Back into the ring, Enrique Vera from south of the border in Mexico has Manuel Villalobos, who is Rookie of the Year. It's Villalobos finding himself taken down by the leg, and Enrique Vera drops that knee in behind the knee of Manuel Villalobos, puts all the pressure on the knee as he pulls the leg back.
Now, certainly here is a classic situation in pro wrestling, and we'll have to ask Al Madril this question. We've got the young rookie, a classic example of scientific wrestling, in against a professional, many years in the sport of pro wrestling. Also, a great exponent of the scientific style as you, sir, used to be until not too many weeks ago here on Southwest Championship Wrestling.
I hope you guys are through talking. Now, these people, I come out here because I want to watch this match. I want to commentate a little bit. You guys should be, you know, glad that I'm here. I mean, you know, you guys have nothing else to do. Now, look at these two guys out here. You got one guy here, Enrique Vera, south of the border reject. And you got this young rookie guy here who never make it as far as I'm concerned, because when I get in the ring with that kid, I'll take care of him. I'll take care of Enrique Vera. I took care of Chicky Starr. I took care of all the Mexicans they brought against me. Chicano power is prevailing among us, baby.
Now, sir, whether you claim to be from the barrios of Los Angeles or not, one thing you've got to remember is you've got to face, eventually, Enrique Vera in the ring, and then maybe all of your claims about your heritage may not stack up like you want it to be.
Well, this remains to be seen, right? I mean, you know, Enrique Vera doesn't impress me. I haven't met one Mexican wrestler that impresses me yet. When you're as tough and strong like a Chicano, like you said, I came from the barrio, I had to fight my way up, then it'll be a lot different. I'm going to go talk to somebody else for a minute.
Well, that's Al Madril. He's out here co-commentating this match. He's also working over on the Spanish network. That's where he is now with Rapido Rodriguez. In the ring, Todd Johnson, the referee, checking the shoulders of Manuel Villalobos, as Villalobos is having a battle with Enrique Vera. Vera holding on to that leg. Now, here comes Villalobos up, grabs the arm of Enrique Vera.
Now, certainly Todd Johnson's role as the referee is made very much easier by the scientific style. Good short arm drag by Manuel Villalobos on the veteran star Enrique Vera. And we're seeing, Steve, as far as I'm concerned, the epitome of professional wrestling. Short arm hit by Enrique Vera. And you can tell the respect that these two athletes have between themselves by the wary way they lock up in the ring.
Well, it's Vera now with a takedown as he has the hammerlock applied. on Manuel Villalobos. I want to tell all you great fans in Beaumont, Texas, that Southwest Championship Wrestling is coming back live very soon.
And certainly we've got cards and letters from fans all in and around the Beaumont area. And yes, Bruiser Brody is on his way to Southwest Championship Wrestling. You watch your local television, read your newspapers for exact details of the exciting cards on your way right now all across the country from Southwest Championship Wrestling.
Villalobos tries to hook up. He comes up with a headlock. And he doesn't get to keep it as Enrique Vera just picks up Manuel Villalobos, drops him across that knee. Well, Madril, I hope you're watching this match because Enrique Vera has made some great moves. There's a cross body block. He's got Villalobos down only for a 1 count.
That's right, only for a 1 count. But I'll tell you what, Steve, he will never put my shoulders down, not even for a 1 count. If there was a 0 count, he wouldn't be able to do that either. Because I'll tell you what, there hasn't been a Mexican wrestler here that's beat me yet. Look at Chicky Starr. He coming out here telling everybody he's Puerto Rican. He's a Mexican. He's embarrassed in front of all these people to say that he's Mexican. He's embarrassed. That's why he says he's Puerto Rican.
How about you?
What about me? I'm Chicano. I'm born on this side. My family's from Spain. We're not even Mexican. We're Spanish.
Could we ask you a personal question? I don't mind, Mr. Madril, but I notice that's not the Castile colors you have on your head or exactly a Spanish serape you wear on television.
Hey, don't. You see, the Mexican people stole this from our heritage. This is Spanish heritage, not Mexican, Spanish. And don't you worry about it. Don't stick your nose in this. And those people out there are listening. Look at this match here. I'm bored. There's no competition between. They couldn't beat each other up.
Slingshotting off of the leg of Enrique Vera is Manuel Villalobos, and El Madril is not too happy with what he sees in the ring. But I'm sure if El Madril was in there instead of Manuel Villalobos, it would be a little different.
Yeah, you're right, Abute. I should, you know, if I wasn't so tired right now, Steve, I'd get in the ring right now and beat both of them at the same time. But I don't really feel too good right now, so I don't want to do that. I don't want to embarrass either one of them, you know? I'm not afraid of either of them, and anytime, I'm ready. Enrique Vera, anytime he wants to get in the ring with me, I'm ready. Anytime he wants, I'm ready. I'm right here, baby.
Well, right now it's Manuel Villalobos with the task of battling Enrique Vera as Villalobos holds on to the left arm. Enrique Vera just throws him down. Different style from south of the border.
Well, certainly we've seen a lot of the scientific maneuvers. I noticed the great split leg lock that Pat O'Connor defeated Lou Thez with in 1963 at Kaminsky Park in Chicago. And certainly Enrique Vera now, Manuel Villalobos, a high-flying body press off the second rope, but no, Enrique Vera is right there. A shoulder breaker on Villalobos. That could be it. 1, 2, 3. We've got a win today on Southwest Wrestling, Steve.
Oh, there it is. Manuel Villalobos comes flying off that cross body block, but he didn't get it as Enrique Vera just snatched him out of the air, put him down for the count of 3 with a shoulder breaker, and Enrique Vera invited him.
He wasn't it.
Yeah, he was.
And now Enrique Vera is challenging El Madril. If you've got it to back up, why don't you go do it?
Oh, you see, I'm a little tired today. I don't really feel... I'm a little tired. I don't really feel like... Estoy cansado ahorita. No puedo luchar. You know,
El Madril.
Ingrown toenails been hurting me a lot. I don't, you know...
Well, you were complaining a while ago. You wanted to meet him.
Well, you know, I'm a little bit tired right now.
He won't go. He says he's a little tired. He's got an ingrown toenail. Here comes Enrique Vera out on the apron. He's wanting Madril.
Well, certainly when these two stars collide, as they will, Steve Stack, no matter what El Madril says his various ailments are, it should be one of the most exciting bouts in pro wrestling, and it's coming up in the arenas of Southwest Championship Wrestling.
El Madril still standing up here. El Madril, are you? Here comes Enrique Vera. Let's see. They're coming up here. Enrique Vera is coming up on the stage.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Now there. Enrique Vera trying to get El Madril into the ring. He tantalized him, but if Madril goes in with him.
Certainly we're seeing the clash of the Nationals now.
He's not going.
Enrique Vera, proud of his Mexican heritage, El Madril. I can't wait to see these two guys tie up in the arena, Steve.
There it is. Madril goes back to the dressing room. Perro Aguayo is chasing him all the way back, but Madril will not get into the ring with him. Stay tuned because there's more exciting Southwest Championship Wrestling coming up right after this. Humongous in the ring against Bull Ramos.
Certainly so many people have been talking about the talents of the Lord Humongous. The man who's brought him to the Southwest Championship Wrestling area is here with us today. Silky Slim with a 360-pound Lord Humongous.
Just remember what I said. I just want you people to remember what I said. His name is Lord Humongous. He's the new dude in town. He's the biggest and the baddest, romping, stomping, fussing and cussing dude you ever seen in your life. He's going to rule this Southwest area, and he's going to kill this guy tonight. I hope he's got his life insurance paid up.
That's Silky Slim as we watch you, Lord Humongous. This guy is big.
Well, he's a fantastic athlete. Obviously, you can tell, well over 300 pounds. And with Silky Slim Johnson in his corner, an extra added dash of danger and spice, especially the young bull Ramos. But I've got to wonder, Steve, what's going to happen to the Lord Humongous when Bruiser Brody comes to town?
I don't know. He lays Ramos on the rope. Big forearm. Oh, and that is big when he lays it in there. Here he goes back after him again as Ramos is there. He's choking now. You can tell right away the rule book goes out when this guy gets into the ring.
And certainly the Lord Humongous, listening explicitly to the instructions of his manager at ringside, just barely within the rules of pro wrestling, winds Ramos into the ropes.
Another clothesline.
Oh, a fantastic clothesline by the Lord Humongous. And I don't know whether to call this man a wait a minute. I've got to see what Colonel Buckley, Christopher George Robley III has to do with the situation. He's got him into the neck lock. I've seen this move from Humongous across the country before, and certainly, Steve, I can tell you from experience.
That's it. That's that Texas chainsaw buzzing. That's that Texas chainsaw buzzing. This guy can kiss it goodbye. It's all over. It's all over. 6 foot 8 inches, 300 pounds plus. The baddest walking and talking and romping and stomping a dude in town.
Oh, there it is. Lord Humongous wins a quick one here on Southwest Championship Wrestling as Bull Ramos may have that next snap.
Steve, I got to wonder what Colonel Buckley, Christopher George Robley III has to do with him out here at ringside. He's walking around talking his usual stuff, but what can I say?
Stay tuned because we'll be back with another exciting match right after this. Rick Gibson against El Rata, the Rat from Mexico.
Certainly we're seeing two great stars today on Southwest Championship Wrestling as wrestlers from all over the world, Steve. And the last couple of years since I've been here on Southwest Wrestling, it's been my great pleasure to be the co-host of wrestling shows all the way from Des Moines, Iowa to Tallahassee, Florida. And I'll tell you the honest truth right now, Steve, I have never seen an influx of stars like are coming to the Southwest Championship Wrestling area, including the man of the hour, the baddest man to ever come out of Texas. Of course, who else are we talking about but King Kong Bruiser Brody?
That's right. Bruiser Brody is coming back. I'm not going to promise you, but it's a possibility he might be here live next week.
Well, you know, Bruiser Brody is Bruiser Brody. And when the King Kong wants to show up, then Bruiser Brody will show up.
He shows up and nobody's going to argue with him.
If I was that big, nobody'd argue with me. You know what I'm talking about?
Humongous was impressive.
Certainly a man that King Kong's got to figure with. When Bruiser Brody comes to town, he's got to be thinking about Lord Humongous. He's got to be thinking about the super heavyweights that are here in the Southwest area right now, Steve.
Yeah, into the ring. It's Rick Gibson against El Rata. Rata rolls out. He complains a little in Spanish to the referee. I don't know if Todd Johnson understands Spanish or not. But it's Todd Johnson, the referee, against Rata and Rick Gibson. I like Rick Gibson's style.
Well, I may be a little prejudiced because Rick Gibson and I grew up in the same hometown of Pensacola, Florida, right there on the beach against the Gulf of Mexico. And he and I have been friends since we were each about 17 or 18 years old. So my views on this match may be a little slanted, but I'll tell you, pound for pound, Rick Gibson is probably the foremost scientific wrestler in the world today. And I'll include Lou Thez or Carl Gotch or Dory Funk or Terry Funk or anyone in the world against Rick Gibson, in my estimation, in pro wrestling.
Oh, that's a lot of big names you're throwing out there, and Rick Gibson, I'm sure, is proud to be in that class. As El Rata right now has a hammerlock. El Rata drops the knee into the shoulder that he had wrapped up tight with a hammerlock. It's El Rata against Rick Gibson. Don't forget, all you fans in Alice, Texas, we're going to be there. We want to see you. It's been a while since we've been to Alice. It's going to be nice to be back.
Well, Rick Gibson sneaks out from a double-handed arm lock. Maybe a little bit of hair there, but you see the fiery temper of this young man. And you know, Steve, as a matter of fact, this morning when I flew in from Florida, spending a couple of days in my hometown, I understand the feeling that Rick Gibson talked to me about. He talked to me about being a transplanted Texan, a guy that sits his feet on the soil of Texas and feels right at home. Now, after a couple of weeks, I know exactly what this guy's talking about. Good snap mare from Rick Gibson. He's got El Rata down on the canvas, and he's showing this young man that if he wants to get outside the rules, Rick Gibson is right there to meet him.
Gibson going for the mask. They're trying to unmask Rata, but Rata comes up with a big open hand chop, knocks Gibson down. He reaches down and grabs the hair. Whoa! Rick Gibson's mad. Knee lift. Down goes Rata.
And certainly Rick Gibson, as far as his scientific wrestling goes, wait a minute, he's hooked him up high for a vertical suplex, and Gibson floats over a lateral press. He hooks the far leg, only a count of 2 on Rata. But against one of the top stars of Mexico, you've got to say that although Rata holds his own, Rick Gibson definitely has the advantage. If we were in amateur wrestling, certainly as far as points go in this match.
Well, it's Rick Gibson. Rata now takes a leg, goes over that bottom rope. And Rata got himself a break. That's what he wanted. Here he comes in after Gibson. There's another one of those big open hand chops. That may have been close to the throat.
Well, if you want to take shortcuts against Rick Gibson, I've seen this guy since I was, going to the matches as a 13, 14-year-old fan. You go ahead and take him. But I'll tell you one thing, Steve Stack. You get a little too fiery on Rick Gibson, and he'll come right back on you for all he's worth. If you're in the street or if you're good, high-flying drop kick from Rick Gibson, come on back. Street fight, wrestling, whatever you want. Rick Gibson's right there for you. Wait a minute. Gibson now. He steps into the spinning toe hold. This could be it, Steve. We've seen it a couple of weeks now, right? We're talking about the inside step-over toe hold. He's spinning in. The spinning toe hold made famous by the Funks. Reverse step-over toe hold. He's around back of his man. He posted. It looks like step-over toe hold with the arch back. The trademark of the Gibson.
And he's got it. Rick Gibson rolls out of the ring, and the legs of Rata really got to be sore as Rick Gibson comes up with a victory over Rata.
Sensational superstar Rick Gibson's had a chance to catch his breath. Today we saw the arch back with the step over. Rick, once you put it on, nobody's ever gotten out of it before.
Let me say, Rick, you're true, right. You've seen me for years. You've seen my brother. Once that hold is applied, it's never been taken off, brother. Nobody has ever gotten out of it. And everybody has asked me, Steve Stacks, you've asked me, everybody said, what is it? Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's the Gibson leg lock. You look at Rick and you look at Robert, brother, the Rock and Roll Express. If you ever see it, brother, you're going down.
There you have it, Rick Gibson, just one of the great stars here of Southwest Championship Wrestling. Stay tuned because we'll be back with another match right after this. On Thursday, April the 4th, advance tickets all Mickey's convenience stores in Lexington. We'll see on Thursday, April the 18th, Bruiser Brody in Lexington. In Vernon on Friday, April the 19th, Bruiser Brody in Vernon. And we'll be in Temple at the Mayburn Civic Center on Saturday, April the 20th. Here in Waco, the action of Southwest Championship Wrestling inside the Convention Center begins at 8 o'clock on Friday night, April the 12th. Here's the big lineup, the main event, a revenge match. And we've just been handed this special information that Buck Robley will be in that revenge match. The contract to the other side has been bought out by Bruiser Brody. That's right, it's Bruiser Brody against the Colonel Buck Robley in the big revenge match. No disqualifications. Madril takes on Chicky Starr. Mr. Pile Driver Bob Sweetan against Tim Flowers. Dusty Woods will be there against Lord Humongous and other exciting matches. Fans tickets over at Marcy's Hamburg. That number is 799-9992. And we'll see you at the Waco Convention Center on Friday, April the 12th. Mr. Pile Driver.
Well, first of all, Steve, I'd like to be the first one to welcome Bruiser Brody back. It's good to have the man back because he's going to help us take care of a little bit of business. And I feel kind of sorry for Christopher George Robley. But this Tim Flowers, I don't know too much about the man, but if he's in the Southwest Championship Wrestling area, he must be good. He must have some credentials to back up his words. The man is going to have a true test when he steps in the ring with me. You're going to find out exactly what the wrath of the pile driver is all about.
Chicky Starr, no disqualification against Madril.
Yes, Steve. No DQ on Madril. Let me tell you one thing. I don't finish the job yet. Well, let me tell you one thing. April 12th, I'm going to finish with you, baby.
All that action, remember, is in Waco at the Convention Center. Bruiser Brody is back. He has bought out the contract of Scott Casey, and he'll be going up against the Colonel Buck Robley, and Mr. Pile Driver Bob Sweetan will be there. He'll be going against Tim Flowers. No disqualifications. Madril, Chicky Starr, 799-9992 for reservations. Perro Aguayo from Mexico against Arandu, also from Mexico. This ought to be a good match with the referee George Stevens in there to try to keep everything right. Here we go.
Steve, I've heard so much about Perro Aguayo. Good waist lock takedown that sends Arandu to the mat. And Perro Aguayo is right there. He's certainly earned his reputation as one of the premier superstars to ever come out of Mexico. As a matter of fact, as far as I understand, he's rated in the all-time greats right along there with Mil Mascaras.
That he is. There's a nice arm drag as he gets rid of Arandu. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, Bruiser Brody is coming back very, very soon. Watch for him in your town, because the excitement begins with Southwest Championship Wrestling, and Bruiser Brody is that excitement.
That's a good leg trip by Perro Aguayo, followed up by a short arm scissor. And I'll tell you a little secret. Today I stepped off the plane from Florida at the San Antonio International Airport, and it was my great opportunity to be off at the same time that Perro Aguayo came off the flight from Mexican Airport in Mexico City. And the stir that he caused at the international airport is certainly worthy of a superstar that he is. This young man is well known among fans all across the continent of North America and South America, and for good reason. Aguayo in behind his man, a good short arm drag, and you'll see Perro Aguayo in again behind Arandu, a good short back leg scissor that sends this Mexican star certainly to the forefront of this match today on Southwest Wrestling.
Perro Aguayo staring at Arandu. Now he charges in, picks Arandu up. What's he going to do? Slams him, just holds him up there nice and easy. That shows you how strong Perro Aguayo is. Slams him down. Arandu gets up, looks at him, and says, well, I don't know if I want too much of this guy. Oh, but Arandu is tough. He'll come back at you. He'll stay in there with anybody.
Well, you know, there's an old saying in pro wrestling, on any given night, any given man can be beaten inside the squared circle. And I've got to be thinking about Perro Aguayo's good friend, Enrique Vera, who a lot of the fans will be seeing here on Southwest Championship Wrestling live in the arenas. Two of the toughest stars, two of the roughest, toughest men. Woo! Look at that clothesline from Perro Aguayo. Two of the toughest stars to ever come out of Mexico. Be watching for him in your arena from Southwest Championship Wrestling.
There is a foul driver. Enrique Vera's man from south of the border, Perro Aguayo, out here. And Perro Aguayo just foul drive Arandu. Now he has him high in the air. Beautiful suplex. Arandu is down. Let's see what Perro Aguayo is going to do with him.
Certainly, you know, Perro's going to be disappointed it didn't get him quite at the pile driver like he wanted to. At one time, one of the most feared holds, and certainly it's been barred in Texas for a period of 10 years, and they thought the Texas State Commission would never allow it to be applied in the ring inside the state of Texas again. Oh, full body slam. And Perro Aguayo, using his full 230 pounds behind the thrust of that power drive, has got Arandu backing up. Referee George Stevens does not know what to do at this time of the match. Arandu totally outclassed by the skills of the Mexican match superstar, Perro Aguayo.
Well, the referee counts Arandu back into the ring. You're watching Southwest Championship Wrestling. Hope you're enjoying it. Remember, we're coming to your town live, so come on out and sit. Nice kick there from Arandu. Knocks Perro Aguayo down as the shoulder backs him onto the ropes. What's going on here? Over the top goes Arandu, and there's a clothesline as Enrique Vera had cut him down.
Well, again, the skills of the veteran. Perro Aguayo can be seen around Arandu as he moves it back for the fans of ringside. Look at that, Steve Stack. He came flying out of the ring through the second rope and literally crushed Arandu against the ringside chairs here at the junction on Southwest Championship Wrestling.
Oh, he is laying out in the chairs, and Perro Aguayo goes right out after him and brings him back into the ring. Oh, what a move from Perro Aguayo.
He took the vertical suplex from outside the ring. This could be it. One of the top match stars of all time, Perro Aguayo, taking over against Arandu today on Southwest Championship Wrestling. And Steve, certainly be looking for world-class stars from all over the country, including the Giant Lord Humongous and King Kong Bruiser Brody. Wait a minute. Aguayo on the top rope. He gestures to the sellout crowd here at the junction. He's off. A beautiful backflip. This has got to be it. 2, 3, and Perro Aguayo, another big win today on TV.
Oh, Perro Aguayo showed us those moves that made him so famous in Mexico as he defeats Arandu. Stay tuned, because we'll be back with tag team action featuring the Maoris from New Zealand right after this. Maoris from New Zealand with a Ninja Warrior in their corner go against Dusty Patterson and Ken Anderson.
Well, certainly the Southwest Tag Team Champions have a lot on the line, and you've got to, whether you agree with their tactics or not, Steve Stack, you've got to admire them for putting themselves, if not their championship belts, on the line on television today on Southwest Championship Wrestling. And in their corner, of course, the man who has lent a significant deal of interference or influence, whichever you'd like to call it, the Ninja Warrior. And in many of the towns that Southwest Championship Wrestling is on its way to, you can look forward to seeing that, or, well, if you want to look forward to it or not, you can see the Ninja Warrior in the corner of the Southwestern Tag Team Champions, the Maoris, in your hometown this week. Joining us on the podium, of course, one of the most devious, if not sick minds in pro wrestling, Colonel Buckley Christopher George Robley III.
Well, you know, I appreciate that great hospital. No, it's not a really hospital.
It's not hospitable at all, sir.
But you know, Rapido and Rick, as well as I know, the people of the state of Texas and the surrounding areas that we go into, there's a lot of things happening in the Southwest. And I guess you might say I'm part of the involvement in here. We're talking about the Maoris. We're talking about Lord Humongous. We're talking about a man, Bruiser Brody. We're talking about Frankie Lane. We're talking about Dusty Woods. I understand there's all kind of competition coming this way, but I'm looking forward to meeting all of them head on myself. Not only am I a great talker, but, you know, I can back up what I say in the ring.
Well, certainly we don't see the Colonel in the ring too much anymore these days, but let me say one thing, sir. You've been associated with the Lord Humongous, and certainly when Bruiser Brody comes to town, he's got a lot to say to you.
Well, you know, Brody and I have had our feud going for a long time, you know, and I look forward to getting back in the ring against a guy named Bruiser Brody. I look forward to going against a guy named the Maoris. It doesn't make any difference to Buck Robley or what his competition is, that they're all going to learn who I am and what I am, and I stand for what I am. I am justice. Whether I'm a sick, devious man, that's my business, but I am who I am, and I am what I am.
Now, Mr. Robley, let me ask you this one question. Steve Stack and I have been talking about it for a couple of days now. Are you associated with the management and career of the Lord Humongous?
You know, Rick and Rapido, as you refer to Lord Humongous, you know, that man is amazing. Not only is he amazing, he's an astonishment because he's such a big individual. No, I have nothing to do with Lord Humongous engagements or who he meets, but, you know, if I could be a pat on the back and kind of add him on into the ring and help him, I would be that person, but I have nothing to do with that. No, I'm more or less out here observing. I've been observing now for a while, been watching everything going on. You know, I'm looking at these Humongous, well, not the Humongous, but the Maoris in the ring now. They totally dominate everything in this area. You know, you're looking at Scott Casey and Rick Casey and Ricky Gibson. They're all fine athletes. I take nothing away from nobody. You know, these individuals, Rapido, that train and work hard all their life to get to the statue and to the position where they can be on the top man on the pedestal. But there's always somebody coming around to knock them off that pedestal, and I think I'm the guy that's going to do it. You know, I want to, you know, I really want to encourage all the wrestling fans out there that watch our show that, you know, we're in 27 major markets, not only in the state of Texas, Ohio, and Illinois, and Louisiana, and different places that we are. I'm a part of all this, and I'm going to show you people not only that I'm a great talker, that I can back up what I say in the ring. And I'm looking forward to meeting this competition. It's getting tougher, and it's going to get stiffer down the road.
Well, certainly, Steve Stack, you and I have been talking about it before. I don't want to be the man to dispute Colonel Buckley Christopher George Robley III. All I can say to this individual is Bruiser Brody's on his way, and he'll have to back up what he says inside the ring.
That's right. It's possible the Colonel might have to get in there and battle it out with giant Bruiser Brody.
Well, you know, Brody, everybody talks about Bruiser Brody. Bruiser Brody's a big bruiser, but sick and devious Buck Robley is sick and devious. And, you know, I've taken a big oak tree, and I chopped an oak tree down to its size. And, you know, once you put a man down on the mat, he's the same as all of us, Rapido. I don't care who Brody is. I don't care who the Maoris are. I don't care who manages who. I don't care if we got Slick Johnson out here with Lord Humongous. I don't care if we got the Ninja Warrior with the Maoris or anybody else. I want to go on record right now and tell all you wrestling fans and all these markets that we cover, if you're wondering what happened to Eric Henry if you're wondering what happened to Danny Greer, if you're wondering what happened to Johnny Boyd, and all these other people that run roughshod, if you all recall, it was about 6 weeks ago, I got up here about 6 weeks ago, and I told you, Steve and Rapido, that I wasn't sure whether I should beat some of these guys up or I should kiss them. It's obvious I beat a few of them up because they're not here anymore.
Well, they're gone right now, and in the ring, those tough Maoris, the Southwest Tag Team Champions, battling it out. The Ninjas in there passing on the word. And these Maoris, I don't know, we had that Southwest title a long time, and it looks like they're going to...
You know, Steve, you're exactly right. The Maoris are a tough combination. But, you know, I'm not here to defend the Maoris or myself or anything. I'm looking down the road, you know. What's happening now is history. I'm looking in the future. They're talking about guys, Dusty Woods, Frankie Lane, Paul Kelly, I don't know all the new personnel that Mr. Blanchard has coming, but I know all these people got to be capable or Mr. Blanchard wouldn't have them, you know. And the Maoris are going to meet their test. Whether they meet the test with me, whether they meet the test with Rick Casey, Scott Casey, Reuben Gibson, Ricky Gibson, it doesn't make any difference, you know. We are here to say we got our foothold in the door and we're here to stay and we got the best competition going. And all you have to do is put your name on a contract and come and beat us, you know. We all can't bank on Bruiser Brody being the star that's going to do this and that, because I'm going to beat Brody up personally.
Yeah. Well, certainly nobody can dispute that promoter Joe Blanchard's got some of the greatest talent, Steve, in the Western world coming to the Southwest Championship area. But, Mr. Robley, I don't want to dispute your word in person, sir, but a lot of people have said that you are involved, maybe not financially, maybe not mentally, but in some way with the careers of many wrestlers in the Southwest area, including the Maoris and several other men yet to be named.
You know, I would like to say, yes, you're right in that part, but, you know, really we're all speculating and we're just looking over the horizon. The only thing you got to do is look through is next week and see that tremendous card that Mr. Blanchard's got here and what's going to happen in the rest of the area of Southwest Wrestling and where we're going, what we're a part of. And we're part of the United States and overseas people. And I'm just happy to say that I am part of it. And I look forward to meeting a guy named Bruiser Brody. I look forward to meeting a guy named Frankie Lane. I look forward to meeting a Timmy Woods or Timmy Flowers. It doesn't make any difference to me. I will be here dressed out in my, well, I want to say costume, but it's not a costume. It's just that I'm so overpowering, it doesn't make any difference how I'm dressed or what I do. That you all know when you speak to me and look at me that I am what I am and I represent the Southwest Championship Wrestling. You know, it's a shame that a lot of young kids got to start here. Manuel Villalobos was a young Latin star starting out. He found out the hard way. Here's Al Madril that changed horses in the middle of the stream and decided he was going to go on his own. There's a lot of things happening in this area, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of them, Rapido. Rapido knows me from the past, Rick, where maybe you don't know me, but I'm looking forward to seeing the Slaters, the Funks, the Robleys, the Brodys, the Hansons, and a few other people coming back to Southwest, trying to get a foothold and a stopping ground that I can stomp them in.
Well, certainly Colonel Buck Robley has included himself with some of the greats of Southwest Championship Wrestling. And as a matter of fact, Steve stacked wrestlers all over the world. But let's say that Southwest Wrestling is on its way not only across the United States, but all across the world.
I don't take away from the action going on in the ring. These Maoris are definitely over devastating. They're much more the better match. It's definitely a mismatch here we got in the ring. But you know, Rapido, not to be in slang or not that I want to say that Enrique Vera and Perro and Aguayo, I don't know anybody about from south of the border. I don't understand Spanish, but I know you know how to tell those people that...
There's the victory for the Maoris as they come off that top rope.
I'm north of the border, I know that. I'm looking forward to meeting all these people. How the Veras, the Aguayos, El Morocco's, El Saint, yeah, Miller, yeah, Kanik. I want to see all these people coming back around this area. The Maoris with the Ninja Warrior, Humongous with Slick Johnson. I want to see all these people. I'm standing in front of you and telling you who I am, and I've been talking to you for 8 minutes. I know who I am.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Maoris.
I'm here telling you who we are. We are the Southwest Tag Team Champions. We are the champions.
Southwest Championship Wrestling. And ladies and gentlemen, until next week, on behalf of Rick Stewart, this is Steve Stack saying so long.
We're going to be in Alice.
Wrestling.
We're going to be everywhere in Texas, brother. We made